Okay, hi, Wiltsy here. I'm gonna be making a little quick video on sort of my mentality while playing Splatoon 2 competitively. Just sort of going through some gameplay footage and just talking about some of the things I do, why I do them. I'm also gonna be going through all three weapons I normally play right now, that being Dynamo, Heavy, and Tri-Slosher. I'll put some timestamps in the description if you want to skip to one weapon in specific, but a lot of the things I'll talk about will be shared between things or just kind of general things about the game rather than specific to a weapon. So I definitely recommend watching all of it if you're interested in that kind of thing. So I'm gonna start out with this match from the scrim we did basically a few hours ago. I've got audio off because otherwise there'd be callouts. Just a little bit. It's a bit weird to have callouts with my voice and also on my voice. So first of all, you see me going to the left block. Just right away, I take the rail to be a little bit quicker. It's just a really strong spot to kind of abuse the fall off that Dynamo has. It's all this area around. I can just kind of like shoot over basically to make it hard for people to approach me. And you'll actually see that later in the match. Somebody tries to approach me, it doesn't go very well. I have a clear shot in the zone to paint it. I'm very hard to approach. I have a lot of lines of sight to kind of make callouts to teammates and whatnot. And one thing you'll see over here, their block, one thing I've tried in the past is going to their block and kind of sloshing over it. I don't know if I'd call it sloshing because it's a roller, not a slosher, but you know what I mean. But one thing, an issue I've always had, like if you're a faster weapon like a slosher or a blaster, it's a bit easier to do this, but with Dynamo, because of how stuck you are when you swing, like if there's a charger here, they can just easily shoot you while you're swinging. They could throw a bomb here and you're kind of just stuck. It's just really easy to get caught out in a bad position, in a bad time with Dynamo specifically, because of its slow wind up time when it swings. And so that's the main reason why you see me going to left block instead of going to their right block. Both spots are somewhere I can use my kind of Dynamo flick fall off damage, but this one's a lot safer, especially for Dynamo. Then I see the pro there. I just go for, I don't want to commit to this pro because that would give up zone, basically. So I see the pro, I do a vertical flick, that kind of, I don't think I hit them at all, so they don't take damage, but they potentially could have from my vertical flick, which is why I do it. And it also puts down paint to help with Leke running at him. So that's kind of just a nice way to help out Leke with his fight without giving up focus on the zone, because controlling zone's generally more important than going for a fight way off in the corner, especially for a weapon that can paint. Leke doesn't care as much because he runs a bunch of QR and he has a low paint output, so it's not as big of a deal that he's not helping you paint zone. Yeah, you see Leke goes down to pro. I know the pro is trying to come at me, so at first I get out of their line of sight. Once I'm out of their line of sight, not only am I safe from being shot, but they also don't know exactly where I am. I can see a top of this block, I can see around here, so if they try to shoot me, I'll know where they are. They don't know where I am beforehand. So from there, I get back on the block because it's a strong position to be in. I see them start climbing up, and I just kind of try to hit them over the wall. And it's a pretty easy one for me. And you also see me aiming upwards a bit. That's because it actually does a little bit more damage and is a bit more easy to hit people on the wall. So if you slosh out or flick out, then a lot of the damage will go just over them and you might just miss them straight up. But when you go up, it kind of arcs upward and then comes back down. Just makes it easier to hit people right on the ledge. You can kind of see why I take this position. I easily get the kill on somebody trying to rush me, and I just paint zone again. And here I get armor. I know I have armor, but they only have one up at this point. We don't really need to use this armor, so I'm intentionally save it. And throw bombs, kind of play it safe. Now here is something I think was not the right choice. Like, I'm waiting to use armor for when they commit in so we actually make use of it, but I think it was still a little bit early. So I see them in storm, I see them coming in from over there. They throw a bunch of specials down. But there's so many specials that kind of just, like, makes our armor irrelevant. Like, the armor actually doesn't help us at all. And I think that's kind of just like a misread of the situation where it's like, oh, they're gonna push in, so I should armor to, like, make it easier to fight them when they push in, but they're also pushing in with specials. So the way I probably should have handled that is to save the armor until after they've already used all their specials. And at that point, like, they've used up all of their power spike. Like, they don't have anything besides their main weapons and sub-weapons at that point. And so I can actually use the armor to give us an advantage to push back in once they've committed and used up all their specials. And that's something I'm trying to work on right now, just being a little bit smarter about my armor timings. And there you kind of see I'm forced out of my spot by, well, there's an ink storm, there's a booyah bomb, there's missiles, just everything coming at me, so I'm forced out of my spot. You can see me going towards this side, which isn't perfect for me, but it's somewhat safe. There's this area I can abuse the ability to shoot over ledges. There's a block here I can get behind. But you can also see, I know Leke's over there. I know there's nobody on top of block, so it's like, I already know at this point that that block is going to be safe to go back onto. I have no reason to go back on, not to go back onto it, since it's just a really strong spot to be in. I did not know about the ballpoint, and the ballpoint could have potentially gotten me there, but it ends up being fine. You can't foresee everything. I wouldn't expect myself to know the ballpoint. I think I knew somebody was there, but I didn't know it was the ballpoint. Yeah, and then again, you can see me vertical flicking over there to try to paint and chip damage without committing the fight. But as soon as I see that this middle part is clear, I go for their block. You see me, I know the junior's over here, but I don't know exactly where. But then I get a call out saying they're at sponge, so it's like, okay, this area is safe. At this point, I paint up the side of their block. This is something I do in general. I just kind of paint this side of their block because it's a really nice spot for me to be in. If they're on their block, I can just kind of like hop around and then shoot over from this side. And their block is also a nice place to be, as long as they don't have anything that can outrange me. Here, it's kind of just bad timing. Bombs are something to be very careful about with Dynamo, but in here, this case, it's like I press the swing button as they throw the bomb, so there's not really much I could do there. But yeah, that area is very vulnerable. Vulnerable? That word is hard to say. Their block is vulnerable, but it's a very strong position, especially if they don't have a charger that can just like immediately shoot me. They have a ballpoint, which does outrange me, but like with Splatlings, it's a little bit easier because my teammates can kind of get in between me and them. But of course, they still have bombs. And I saw the beacon and called out my teammates. They immediately broke it. Another thing, you'll probably see like any good player do this, but just kind of looking at the map when you're dead. You can get a lot of information. If anybody's got any damage on them, you can call out where they are. You can kind of see splotches of paint when people are moving past a certain area. Yeah, I can also see where my teammates are to kind of make a decision of what I'm going to do when I respawn. Which in this case, they've already got 2 down. So I'm not too worried about doing anything immediately. I know I can kind of just take my normal spot and go back to doing things. And you see me just kind of waiting the missiles and then painting over them. Pretty basic. And here I'm making use of that wall I painted earlier. Take their block. But I don't stick around there too often, too long. This is another thing with Dynamo. You kind of don't want to stick in the same place too long because they'll start throwing bombs at you, or something that has long range will start shooting at you. So you kind of take these spots that are really strong to abuse, but you don't want to stick around too long because that just makes it easier for the other team to get a kill on you. But having that wall painted up just kind of makes it so much quicker for me to move around the map. And that's true with in walls in general. Like, it's actually really nice to paint walls that you think you're going to use, especially on Moray. Like, painting the walls on Moray is really helpful to your team. But yeah, something about Dynamo is just kind of being quick with your movements, being really decisive. Like, I'm going to go here, and this is how I'm going to do it. And then just being very quick about how you move. At this point, most of my team is down. I'm kind of trying to... Like, I don't want to back up, to say, first. Or, like, when I'm the last one down, I don't want to be irrelevant, but I want to play it safe, if that makes sense. So we do have 2 of us, but Lacey ends up going down. I'm the last one. So I'm actually here. Which might seem a bit weird because I'm the last one up, but the thing is, if they don't know I'm here, this is a very strong spot for me to abuse. And they probably don't know I'm there. Then they use armor though, so I kind of back out. My weapon doesn't handle armor very well. And I kind of help my team out with that fight as I'm backing up. Then again, we go down a lot, but I have armor. And again, you can kind of see me. I'm taking a different spot. But despite being the last one up, I'm still pushing forward. Just into a spot that's strong for me that the other team doesn't know I'm there. Especially on a map like this. On a lot of the larger maps, it might be a better idea to kind of stay safe and give your team jumps. But on this map, my teammates aren't going to be jumping in. You're kind of just going to be coming out from their base. Here. You can kind of see them coming in. I know they're going to be doing that, and I'm just kind of waiting for that to use armor and then kind of take our block as I armor. We're kind of just like... It's not, like sitting back, painting, getting specials, and then using specials to get in. It's more of being right on the edge of going in and then using specials, kind of just break through all at once. So I'm going to back up a little bit and go through that again. Yeah, here, the title's a little bit in the way, but you can kind of see we have 3 up. So the idea here, I have armor. So as soon as Leke has respawned with Tetras and is in a position to push in, I'm going to armor and we're going to push in together. And I make a call out about that. So you see me right here. The reason I'm not really doing anything is because I'm watching to see when Leke is going to respawn, and I can see this area to kind of know that I'm probably going to be safe. Then once he respawns, I check the map, see where everyone is. And I see they're all on drop, ready to push in, so I armor and climb up. And at this point, I get a lucky double, which is, again, because Dynamo's just so good on this part of the map. Like, the reason that works isn't... It's kind of luck, but it's also partly because I'm positioning somewhere that's really strong for the weapon, and it makes it easy to get that kill. And that's another thing, like, you don't want to go for hard kills, you want to set up easy kills. And that's the kind of thing, for Dynamo at least, that forces that, is just kind of taking strong positions as much as possible and forcing the other team to take fights in your favor. So even if the other player can out-aim you, it doesn't matter because you have an advantage in the fight. Things like that. Because I'm actually not that great at aiming. I usually just use positioning to force advantages rather than having to rely on my aim. And here you can see me. I put chip damage on the Splatling, but I don't want to commit to the fight because I'm weak too. So I kind of just let my teammates finish them off and then paint zone for the rest of the game. So I'm probably going to pull up one other Dynamo gameplay section. So I'll see you then. Okay, so this is another Gold Dynamon Zones thing. I kind of wish I could have brought up a different mode, but like this is just what I found. That was a decent match. So you kind of see me painting for armor. It's quicker to paint with the horizontal flick, but you can see the first flick is just to kind of move forward. Then here, the reason I'm doing verticals is because it's this big long area. So while horizontal flicks are faster, like I can just kind of cover this area with vertical flicks pretty quickly. And then you kind of take, it's a similar thing to MakoMart where you see me taking this spot, where it's easy for me to like shoot over this ledge basically safely. They can't shoot me while here, they can throw bombs, whatever, but they can't shoot me while I can hit them. And then that's also over here. That's a common place for the other team to flank. So I'm kind of just like vertical flicked over there. I'm committing a little bit. I'm checking here to make sure there's nobody coming. One thing I haven't noticed that I usually do. Hold on, this is actually kind of weird that I don't do it. But what I usually do is I check the map to see if there's paint there, to see if... Because if you look at the map, you can usually see a trail of paint if somebody's coming up this way. So normally I would try to do that. I'm not really sure why I didn't do that in this game. Instead, I'm like checking in person to see that they're there, which opens me up to the E-leader, makes it easier to get shot. It's just an unnecessary risk. I don't understand why I did it. But here I'm being shot at by, I think, the E-leader. Yeah, I see the E-leader shots. I have armor at this point, but I know it's gonna end, so like the idea here is I want to fight these people, but I don't want to get shot by the E-leader, so I drop down there and paint this wall. Yeah, that's just like a very quick decision of this is an area I can kind of abuse my ability to shoot over walls, and I don't want to die to the E-leader. And it's very easy for me to just drop down and not commit to that. As you can see. So this isn't really an ideal spot for me to be in. It's kind of, I'm kind of being forced into this situation by the E-leader. So I kind of do this. I see there's two people. I do manage to get one, which is really nice. That wasn't really planned. It's more of like, I'll try for it. Maybe it'll happen. But there's somebody else up there, and I'm not going to be able to get them as well. So I jump back to a teammate. This is another thing I like to do. I've seen other top players do this, or better players than me do this. I will see some who just kind of It seems like they pick something at random and do the D-pad to be quicker. Though I imagine they might kind of, like in this case it would be Leon, like they might look at their map at the beginning of the match, take note of their longest range teammates' D-pad direction, and just always go with that. Because they're usually going to be the safest. But I do prefer, when possible, to kind of take my time and make sure it's a safe jump. And if there's no safe jump, I will jump back to spawn, but if you jump back to spawn, it takes time to get back into mid, and it's just so much more helpful to your team to jump back to a teammate and immediately kind of be back to being relevant instead of having to take time to swim back in. So yeah, I get out of a bad spot and I'm immediately back into the fight and capping zone. Here, I kind of risk it a little bit getting shot by the E-leader, but it's to get over here to paint zone from here and watch this ledge. I see this paint here. They're not going to be coming there. So I kind of just paint for a... Hold up. Yeah, I kind of just... Did they get armor? Yeah, they got armor. That's why I'm backing up. So yeah, they got armor. I need to back out. Here, I get a lucky kill and then jump out because I know I'm not going to do anything else. And I also know my teammates aren't going to be positioned, and I'm not going to have time to find a good jump from teammates. Then here you can kind of see me, like, we want to clear this area to push in. So I'm kind of just abusing the fact that I'm a Dynamo and shoot over this ledge to clear that area, to make it easy for us to push in. And then paint zone. And again, I kind of take this spot quickly to kind of watch this. This is another area I can abuse my fall off. But I don't see anyone coming, so I just don't stick around. Then here I have armor, but we don't really need it right now, so I kind of hold on to it. They're bomb rushing. And this is similar to last, the MakoMart game, where I think I should have saved the armor a little bit longer. Like, I am using the armor to kind of counter their push in, but instead of kind of pushing in after they've committed, like, I kind of just negate specials. Though in this case, actually it was to keep zone since we don't have lead, so... Yeah, in this case it's probably the right call. Because we just want to keep zone as, since kind of ticking down since we don't have lead yet, and we want to get lead. So I think that makes sense, okay. And here I'm kind of painting up a bit. I'm not going to get special anytime soon, I know that, so I'm not focusing too hard on painting for special. I'm sticking to these areas I can paint the zone safely from again. Kind of waiting out the ink storm, shooting over the wall. And then here I kind of wait for teammates, I think. Yeah. Here I'm kind of just waiting for my teammates to get back, and then I get armor, and we can use that armor to push in. It's just by chance that we both armor at the same time. It wasn't meant to counter their armor or anything, it's just kind of... It was a good time for me to use armor. I'm kind of throwing bombs without committing, which works. So that's a very big open area I don't want to be in, especially when they have an E-leader over there. So I'm not actually going to go in that area of the map. I'm just going to throw bombs over there and kind of paint it safely while our bamboo kind of handles that area. But you can kind of see... Actually, I don't think that's... Yeah, they get bomb rush. And instead of using bomb rush to kind of take zone, they're trying to use it to take this part of the map. Which that kind of comes down to our bamboo more than me, but it's because we're focusing on holding this area rather than trying to get kills. And I just kind of throw a bomb in the mix to... That's kind of like a... What do you call it? Just hoping they try to push in and don't notice my bomb in with all their bombs. Of course, it doesn't work, but like it's a low investment, low risk. Might as well go for that. And then I kind of shoot over this wall to see if anyone's climbing up. If I hit anybody, then I would know they're coming. But I didn't hear anything, so I know I'm gonna be fine to ignore it. But you can kind of see the general thing with Dynamo is sort of finding these areas you can control and sort of abuse your fall-off ability without putting yourself at too much risk. And instead of giving up those positions, I usually try to vertical flick to assist in fights rather than kind of going out in the open and putting myself at unnecessary risk. Or throwing bombs, since I'm playing gold Dynamo. So that's probably going to be all I do on Dynamo in specific. I'm going to go on to heavy Splatling. So I'm starting by going back to this scrim from earlier. It's not today since it's like 1 a.m. now. But last night. You can kind of already see something similar to Dynamo where I'm trying to take a strong high ground area right off the bat. It gives me a good line of sight, lots of long open areas to shoot over. With Dynamo, I want to have a lot of height to shoot over, but with Heavy, it's more about having these long straightaways, as well as having some kind of cover. And here, like I can see them in that position. I know I outrange them and can kind of just push up. And I take this top mid. This is another kind of positioning thing where this is a very strong position to be in because I have lots of lines of sight, lots of big open area to shoot through. I've got this pole which gives me cover. I've got, I'll probably use it in a second, or not. Yeah, there's this grates area I can drop down to, or I can drop down all the way and back out. It's a strong position to be in, but it's a strong position that gives me lots of options to get out of. And at this point we get a wipe, but we don't have a push going or anything. I don't have enough clams. We're just not really in a position to make a push. So instead we kind of set up for a push. At this point I have Ray, and at this point I'm going to talk a little about using Ray. You will notice I am playing vanilla over remix because I honestly think it's better in general. Unless it's just a bad map and mode to Ray. But just, for one, having the sprinkler over point sensor is just slightly better, since point sensor is kind of just useless, especially in competitive where you can use callouts. But it's also, Ray is just really nice for dealing with longer range threats, especially if I'm the longest range weapon on our team, as well as sort of assisting safely. So here, the idea is, you can kind of see, anytime I use Ray, you can see like what my plan is from where the center of the screen is. So just looking at this, you can tell I'm planning on using Ray to clear out their snipe, so that they can't drop down on my teammates while they're pushing in from behind. And that's kind of what Ray is good at in general, just kind of clearing out an area you can't easily reach otherwise. So that's my game plan beforehand. It's very hard to do things with Ray if you don't have a plan ahead of time. So you always want to have a plan with Ray. Kind of set up in a spot that's good to, kind of easier to get things done with the ray, easier to kind of stay alive, and just what you're gonna do with it basically. But one thing that does happen sometimes, you can see from the outlines, I see someone coming right. So that kind of messes up my plan a little bit. I was gonna rather snipe, but with somebody coming this way, they're gonna rush me down if I ignore them. So I changed my attention to them. I also know that they're on unequal turf, so they're not gonna be swimming. They're gonna be running, which makes it easier to hit them. And this isn't just like looking back afterwards. I actually did think about that in the match, like the fact that this is unequal turf and they're not going to be moving as fast. That's actually the kind of things, the small things you want to keep in mind when you're using Ray. So if they don't have turf to swim through, they're going to be easier to hit and they're going to be a better target to go after. And you also kind of see, like, when I lose them, I do stop the Ray and start again immediately. You don't get the shockwave thing going out to the sides, but like the main part of Ray is still there, and it's much easier to kind of find them again quickly rather than just kind of wildly swinging around because it's just so slow to turn. And then I pick a ball because I'm the longest range weapon on our team, and I might as well be the one holding it. I'm the one who loses the least from the other team knowing I am. It's something we as a team try not to do is make power clans when we're not actively making a push, because it does give you a bit of a special charge boost you might be able to see, but overall, like, having a power clam is a disadvantage because the other team knows where you are. So whenever possible, we try not to make a power clam until we're about to make a push, which we are. Like, that's a little bit of a risky play because, like, at this point, we get 1, we get 2. It's kind of like, I'm going to go in and score. I could have died there, to be honest. But sometimes you have to take those kinds of risks, even as a Splatling. And here I'm kind of just looking for people. I get assist on 1. At this point, like, I see the shooting, I know they're behind me. So at this point, I'm kind of just expecting to die. I don't have a good escape route. I don't have a good fight against whoever's behind me. I see a slosher. I think there's something else there too. So at this point, my idea is just do as much as I can before I die. At that point, I kind of just run at the heavy and actually get them. And when I'm able to keep the basket open so it closes, and we just kind of reset to trying to build up plans and get an opening. I go back to my usual top mid because it's uncontested. It's pretty much those kinds of spots. If there's if they have a way of keeping you off of it, you want to be careful. But as soon as you see, like, there's nobody stopping me from getting there, it's like, that's where I'm going. It's a very strong position to be in, and whenever possible, I want to be there. You can kind of see me using the pole to stay alive. I back down. You can see Splatlings do this quite a bit, where you jump off of a ledge to try to get something out of your range. And, like, as soon as I do that, I back up and climb back up. So I don't want to commit to that fight. I just want to, like, put minimal effort into trying to make it work. If it does, it's really nice. If it doesn't, I can just climb back up here and get back to where I was before. And here they have armor. They bound me. I know it's not going to be safe to stay up there. So I back up a bit. I've also got Ray, so I'm keeping that in mind. That they have armor, so I'm not going to want to use it right now, but they don't have control of mid. And we have a good amount of clams, so I'm probably going to want to use Ray to try to create an opening. So once their armor ends, I immediately use Ray. Then here, this I don't think was the right play. Like, I get the assist on one, which is kind of, you can kind of see, like, I'm looking at the person with ball. I know exactly where they are. So you can tell that's my game plan with Ray, is to go after whoever is right there. And I get assist, I see one dropping on left. And instead of helping out over on right, I go for the one on left, which obviously doesn't work because I don't have any kind of line of sight on them. And there's also not really anything keeping them from just easily dodging the Ray. So that's definitely a mistake on my part. I should have gone for the people on the right. Since I have teammates on the right to keep them from being able to move as easily, I have more line of sight. It's just so much better if I actually Ray back over here. Though, of course, again, I'm talking about game plans. Like, getting the assist on that one person, that was my plan. The goal was to kill them, but then I get assist instead, so at that point, it's like, the purpose of my Ray is done. So at that point, it's kind of a blind Ray, where I kind of have to shift to doing something else. And I didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to do after that, so it didn't really work out. And here's something a little bit awkward that I did. This is a long open area, so Heavy can actually take this flank really well, potentially. And then once their snipe is clear, it's really easy to push in from bottom with my teammates. But I kind of just mess up jumping over there. They throw a bomb. I know they're watching. So that just kind of delays me. Then by the time I'm actually there, they use armor, I think. Yeah, they use armor. They start using specials to kind of commit to a push. And I'm caught out of position. Because it took me too long. It was just kind of poorly timed. But of course I am behind them, so I can go for one, and I end up getting traded, which is unfortunate, but yeah. That's kind of how that plays out. I'm not going to go too much into that. And you see me go back up to top mid again. I just want to really emphasize how important it is to kind of take these advantageous spots pretty much. It's like I can outplay a lot of Splatlings who are kind of just better at aiming in general than me, just by positioning. Like, they can out-aim me and beat me in a straight fight by constantly, like, I can force them into fights that aren't in their favor, and that's how I win games. And then here you see me, like, again, I want to clear the snipe. I start by shooting. I see the Slosher is weak, so it's like, I'm going to Ray them, and then I'm going to use the Ray on the other people on snipe while my team pushes in bottom. So that gets me a kill, and it also makes it easier for my teammates to kind of score basket while they're being Rayed up top. Then here, like, I score one, kind of push up to try to help my team, but I don't commit too hard. Like, I know it's not going to work out perfectly, and I have an escape plan, and that is to back up and get back onto here. Spent half the game on that little bump, or the pillar thing. I push up to see if there's any clams I can score. There's nothing around, so I back up to my spot again. And the other team has a really hard time approaching mid because I'm up here. Like, they pretty much can't go in this whole area of the map because I'm here. and they don't have a good way of getting me off of here. So then they try to go left side, and that doesn't really work out too well. The Splatling does eventually push me off because my attention is focused over there, and they have the same range and kill time as me. But since I have Ray, I'm fine with jumping out, and I use Ray. They armor, which just kind of... One thing I will talk about with armor is that while the armor does kind of negate my Ray, it's also not the worst thing. Because we've got 20 seconds left, they need to make a push now. So if I force them to use their armor while they're still in their base, they're not going to have an armor for their push. So while the goal is to get a pick and make our own push, the fact that they kind of lose their armor by using a disrevive Ray is also like an advantage for us. Because it makes it much harder for them to make a push. And here the Booyah kind of forced me out of position. I tried shooting at the heavy, but I'm not gonna win the fight. At this point, we just need to defend, so I jump out. And the game's over. So again, it's a different weapon, but it's still kind of the same idea of taking advantageous positions where you can abuse the strengths of your weapon, be hard to approach, and have good lines of sight. And taking those kinds of positions is how I do well, despite not having the same level of aim as a lot of good players have. Okay, so this time I'm going to go into a bit of tower control, I think. I wasn't sure whether to pick this one or one of the Rainmaker matches, but I decided to go with this one instead, since my try videos will be, or my try games will be, probably mostly Rainmaker. You can kind of see again, just like with Dynamo and the other heavy game, I immediately take this fan, because I use heavy to keep the fan up, and it gives me a height advantage. They have to climb up here to get me, at which point I have this long line to shoot them from. I have a place to drop down from behind me. So I have a good escape route, I have a good height advantage, I have a lot of open space to shoot. And I have a lot of just... I can see a lot of things going on. But of course I'm not coming too hard to the fan, and that's largely because of the Hydra. Since the Hydra outranges me and kind of hit me if I stay on that side of the fan too much. I see somebody rushing me down, but of course part of the reason I'm over here and not over there is because I can use my range to deal with anyone who comes up our fan. Yeah, I don't hit any shots there, but you can see me kind of just trying to help out my teammates with paint and a little bit of damage. Here I'm just kind of playing neutral, not expecting to do anything or anything to happen. Somebody has armor and pushes fans, so I back out. I also have Ray, so I keep that in mind. Like, I want to keep the Ray for when they push, so I'm playing a little bit safer than I might usually otherwise. This is a spot that I like to abuse a lot as heavy, because you have this you have this wall, you have this platform to easily just shoot across this way from here, but you can also kind of hop between these areas. It gives you a safe spot to charge up while still giving you access to like this whole area of the map. Yeah, and you can see me still holding Ray because I don't need to use it. Like, I know I don't need to use Ray here. It's just the first checkpoint, it's not too big of a deal, and actually part of it's also that the pro's there. Yeah, never mind what I'm saying about not feeling like I need it. The reason I didn't use Ray was actually because the Pro was there. So I probably should have actually used Ray otherwise, but yeah, the Pro was there, so I couldn't do it. I see the jump to the right, but I can't really safely commit to that because I see the brush immediately. Here's a little fun moment. Like you can see here, I look at the heavy or the Hydra and center my screen on them. That's a clear sign I'm thinking about using Ray. But then I kind of think about it, it's like we only have 2 up. And there's also a call out that somebody's on our plat. And that's the main thing that stops me. So I turn to deal with the brush instead of raying the Hydra. And those kinds of split-second decisions are really important. Because if I didn't realize the brush was here and raid the Hydra, that would be a huge disadvantage for us. Because we'd be 1v3 with the brush in our base, and then we'd also lose the ray. And that would just give them an opening to push. Here I'm kind of just waiting for them to booyah, see where it goes, and they of course booyah at me, but I survive. And here I think... Did they use armor? Yeah, they used armor as soon as I got it. So at this point I'm kind of just waiting out the armor because the ray's not going to do too much to the armor. It may not seem like I'm doing much with this ray, but the idea is pretty much like my teammates are in position, so if they still have armor, my teammates will probably chip it off. And, you know, I see tower, I see people. I see the brush. And the brush worries me because the brush might run at me, which is exactly what they do. So I kind of focus attention on the brush rather than going for tower at that point. And then trade the brush because they run at me. Now here, I want to watch this drop usually. Then you kind of see me just kind of checking there quickly, and then you can see me checking there again right there. I mean, like, I'm not committing to that, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it. Then I go to assist in the pro. I don't quite get them, but I kind of just assume that that fight is won, so I get in the tower anyways. The pro survived a lot longer than I expected them to. But yeah, you can see again, the Hydra's up there. I want to clear that part of the map. That's why I have Ray for. So as soon as I get the assists, my Ray is done pretty much. I just kind of use it to try to hit something over there. Kind of doesn't do anything. I just know there's something in that area. Yeah, like, I use Ray to clear out the Hydra. Once I get that assist, my Ray is, like, successful. It's done exactly what it needs to do. Then here, this is a little bit awkward for me. Because the Hydra's shooting at me, so I'm focused on the Hydra, but the brush is also down here. And I saw the brush go down there, so I should know they're there. But by trying to survive the Hydra, the brush comes in from the side. We have lead, so it's fine. It's just kind of... I probably could have handled that a little bit better. I jumped to a teammate because I know that part of the map's safe. And we want to continue our push. Which we do. I see the Hydra, I get behind the pillar, but just kind of mess up the execution a little bit. So our push is kind of done. I acknowledge that our push is done and build up Ray to defend, basically. You can kind of see like the moment I decide like this pushes over. We got 2 up in there, but I'm not gonna have a safe jump. And you can see like it backing down. Did Matt jump out, or was he just not actually in there like I thought he was? Oh no, like Matt wasn't actually in there. Yeah, it pushes over. I acknowledge that pushes over, that I'm not gonna get any more out of that, and decide to charge special rather than trying to commit to cheesing a few more points. Again, I'm in a position to watch this part of the map, while also trying to contribute to mid. And here, it's pretty much like, at this point, my teammate gets 1. Their Ancient ends. They don't have armor, so I'm just like, this is a good chance to push. We don't really need to at this point, but it's a good chance to push. I see the Hydra here. One thing I always keep in mind with Ray is like something like a Hydra is a heavyweight, so it's not gonna have as good mobility. It doesn't paint for itself as well. So a Hydra is gonna be easier to kill with Ray than something like a Sploosh or T-Tech in this case. So I see the Hydra. There's a big, long, flat area, and it's just like, it shouldn't be hard to get the Hydra here. I might as well kill the Hydra and start pushing again. You kind of see me hook on. Like, this is kind of the mentality I have where, like, I would call this hooking. Like, when somebody's going in a straight line, it's pretty easy to follow along. You just have to actually line it up first. And once you have it lined up, it's pretty easy to just finish them off, as long as they don't change directions. But the fact that I get 2 is kind of luck. Yeah, we don't really need to push at this point, but like, I just create an opening to push up. And if we get tower up here, it's much easier to stop them from getting lead when tower's up here than when it's in mid. Because they need to pretty much get like 3 team fights, 1 to get lead at this point. Then you gotta see, like, I'm trying to get the tower up here, but as soon as I see the bush, I drop down. Because I'm not actually trying to win at this point, or we are gonna win. I'm not trying to get lead at this point. I'm just trying to keep the tower as close to their base as possible to make it harder for them to get lead. And here, I'm kind of playing it safe. I have Ray. Baller drops down, so I drop down. Then just to be safe, I jump out to use Ray, but don't really need to. So again, you can see a lot of the same ideas, using Ray to clear out a hard to reach area, like that area in this case. Or just get easy kills or assists from the other side of the map, like with the Hydra, like here, right? Yeah. And sort of taking these strong positions where I have lots of open space to use my range and lots of lines of sight to see where the other team is. And keep from being just kind of flanked out of nowhere over here. So that's going to be all I talk about with Hydra. I'm going to go into some of the try games I did with Rainmaker. Okay, so here's another match from last night. You can see their junior falls off. It might have been on purpose, I don't remember for sure. They're kind of tilted at this point, I think. But we get pop, we commit to pop. Something with the Rainmaker. You see me throw a bomb and climb up here. The idea is that if I see pop going their way, I can just drop back down here. But because I see it going our way, I commit to the pop. At this point, I don't really have an opening to approach, so I'm just throwing bombs. But I am, again, with strong positionings, like, I want to be ledge camping them with Tri, kind of like with Dynamo. Except with Tri, you don't have range to kind of assist from distance, so it's even more important. And with Tri, I want to go for more aggressive ledge camping kind of things. I get an easy, basically here. My idea is I'm going to throw bombs while moving this way and taking their, what's it called? Bunker or whatever. Attic. So once I get here, it's pretty much, I'm going to throw bombs and hope for an opening from my teammates or from the bombs. If that doesn't work, I'm inching my way over left to kind of flank around. So, like, as I'm committing this, I actually get a bomb kill, which is really nice. I kind of use that opening to push up to this spot, which again, like, I have height advantage. It's a good spot for me to be as a Tri. And then I don't really need to be there anymore because we're pushing. So now I push up, I throw some bombs, and I take their bunker. Or snipe, whatever you want to call it. But again, it's the kind of thing where, like, it's a high space where I can abuse fall off from the slosher and can also see a lot of things going on. Like, no matter what weapon I play, I'm going to be trying to take those kinds of positions. Though with Tri, I'm less likely to stay there. And you can kind of see here, they have 2 down at this point. I use an Inkstorm to try to clear that area. 1 goes down to pop, so at this point it's like, it's just the heavy. I decided to just rush it before they respawn, which is risky, and I mean, I died to the heavy because of that, but, like, to me that was a calculated risk. Like, I had 2 teammates up, so if they had taken the heavy, we could have KO'd. If they didn't take out the heavy, I still think it was a better idea than if we had waited for a better opening, because that would just give them time to respawn. So at this point, we're already at 8 points, and that's a game-winning push in a lot of Rainmaker matches. At this point, I'm trying for another to kind of continue the push, but once that goes sour, I give up on it and decide to just shark this ledge to kind of wait for something to happen. Unfortunately, the pop actually paints over this area, which I didn't think it would do, and then I die to a bomb. That's a kind of situation where it's like, I am kind of safely taking a spot I can abuse my abilities at, but, like, it wasn't as strong as the spots I was taking with Dynamo the first game. And also, this is a larger map, so it would have been more beneficial to my team to kind of back out somewhere to give jumps. I think that's something I need to work on, especially with Tri. It's just sort of playing it safer when I'm the last one up. Or taking better safe positions. And again, even though the Rainmaker's over there, I don't go for the Rainmaker, I go for this spot. So I know this is a good spot to be in. Like, I've got teammates over there to take that fight. So instead, I take the height advantage. I've got a bunch of swim speed, there's a bunch of paint, so if they ignore me, I can easily come in behind. So this isn't, like, that is flanking, but it's not, the idea isn't to flank by doing something like that. If anything, it's actually better if they know I'm up there, because it's really hard for them to get me out of here. So if they don't notice me and actually go forward, it's a risk on my part. Like, I could get in time to take out the Rainmaker, or they could react fast enough to take me out first, or whatever. But they also know that it's a risk on their part, and they don't want to take that risk, so if they know I'm up there, they're going to want to get me out of there. And it's actually better for me if they know I'm up here and want to get me out of here than if they don't know I'm here and I rush the Rainmaker down. Because this is a very strong spot for me to be in. But of course they don't take the bait, so I push forward. Like, they don't come after me, I see my teammate taking a fight, so I try to help out with that fight and then throw some bombs at the Rainmaker. Then here, like, I see this K-shot's the last one up, and I didn't realize that they had just respawned. So I kind of make a call out, like, where's the K-shot, and paint around a little bit to make sure they're not going to just sort of pop out of nowhere and cheese a push out of just our own neglect to pay attention. I've seen that a lot of times where a team kind of ignores the Rainmaker and then somebody sharking around this corner or something just pops out and cheeses a KO. And here again, like, I don't really have a good advantage right now. I'm kind of just throwing bombs until something happens. Like, I could take this area, but there's not really any way to fight around there. Everyone's sort of respawning. I also don't want to leave the Rainmaker too exposed, just in case they flank around. So instead of committing to this, I kind of just play it safe and throw bombs. And you see me look at the Rainmaker just to be safe. And then once it's respawning, or the Rainmaker's resetting, I take their bunker. See my teammate taking a fight and help them out with that. And then I use an Inkstorm to try to clear out this area. Kind of like with Ray with Heavy, I use Inkstorm a lot to just sort of clear out an area. So pretty much, if we want to make a push, we don't want people up here. It's hard for us to just climb up there and just rush at them because they can see us coming and have the advantage. So instead, I try to force them out without actually fighting them by using storm bombs, things like that. And then once they're down, I take their bunker. And I see the CDS over here and try to help out with the fight, and I get the assist. At this point, I'm just kind of playing it safe, hiding behind this wall, giving jumps, and sort of, again, playing it safe. You don't really want to force an opening with a weapon like Tri. So you've got no range, you got a decent but not too fast kill time. It's hard to force advantages with something like Tri. So I'm kind of just playing it safe until I find an opening I can abuse. Again, I'm kind of trying to take fights without committing to anything. Here, I take their bunker again, or attic, or whatever, but the shot's there. While I'm fighting the shot, something else comes in behind, and they double team me. Like, to me, this isn't a mistake on my part. This is just a play that doesn't work out. I think going up here is the right play on my part, and that just doesn't work out. And that's something I think is important to keep in mind. Kind of distinguishing between a mistake and just a play that doesn't work out. And to me, this is something that doesn't work out but was the right decision. Yeah, I run stealth jump, so I'm just kind of jumping at teammates easier than I would with maybe Dynamo or Heavy if I wasn't making stealth jump on those. Yeah, here I just throw a bomb at somebody my teammate is fighting, and it actually gets them, which surprises me, but, you know, that's part of why I run the build I do, which is, like, sub-power, sub-saver stuff. Bombs are just really nice on Rainmaker, especially when you have a short-range comp like this, because it gives you a long-range threat. Then here's another situation. So my teammate dies to the Heavy. They call out that the Heavy, so I know the Heavy's there. And they have the advantage there, so I don't actually want to fight them. However, I do want to keep them from taking this part. So you see me kind of looking around the corner, climbing up here. The reason for this isn't because I'm trying to get a kill on the Heavy. It's because I don't want the Heavy to get here. Again, it's a positioning thing. Like, the reason I do this play isn't because I'm trying to get a kill, it's because I'm preventing them from gaining an advantage. And the Heavy doesn't go for it in the first place, so it's fine, but it would be awkward if the Heavy took this part of the map from us. And so that's just kind of the kind of thing I'm trying to prevent there. But by also doing that, I'm up here, and it's very hard for them to approach me. And while I'm trying to stay away from the ledge to stay alive, I'm also not, like, trying to be hidden or anything. Like, I'm throwing bombs at them because I want them to know I'm here. I mean, it's also to try to get the Rainmaker, potentially. But part of the idea is I actually want them to know I'm in this spot. Because if they know I'm here, they're not going to push up. They're going to try to take me out of this spot. And it's not going to be easy for them. As you can see here, I see them climb up, I get one shot on them, I drop down and can shoot over the ledge. Lightning Storm and throw some more bombs. You can kind of see the Heavy trying to deal with me. They're not able to. And they don't get a push because they're not able to deal with me. Or at least partly because of that. Yeah, it's a kind of a mentality thing where, like, my goal isn't to kill the Rainmaker. My goal is to keep them from pushing the Rainmaker forward. And that's why I do the things I do. It's not about, like, getting wins through kills or anything. It's about forcing the other team into bad positions. And that kind of goes back to the thing I was talking about earlier, where I honestly do think I have worse aim than pretty much everyone else on my skill level. And it doesn't really matter. Because you don't have to have perfect aim to abuse strong situations. And of course, I'm not content with staying, like, the worst aimer in my skill level, but aim is something that you kind of just get better at over time. You can kind of work on it, but it's mostly just something that gets better over time, so I'm not too worried about working on aim. It'll get there. But in the meantime, I can force these kind of situations, so I don't need to aim. And no matter what skill level you're at, these kind of situations are good. Because even if you have better aim than the opponent, they can still force good situations on you. And so you kind of want to still force strong situations, and there can also be times where you just kind of get unlucky. Yeah, here, I'll talk about this moment. Pretty much here, I'm waiting to kind of see an opening like I usually do. I see a bomb, I see shooting, so I know somebody's up here. At this moment, I don't know if it's the junior or the CDS, since they both shoot and have a splat bomb. I think it's the junior, but like I don't know for sure, and I'm kind of just stuck in a corner. They have a height advantage on me. They have kind of, even if it's the junior, they have the advantage in this fight. So rather than trying to take this fight, I jump back to a teammate. Which that doesn't end up working because they end up... Wait, do they actually go down? No, they don't actually go down. It's just, I think the other team sees my jump marker and goes for it. That's another thing where I don't think that was the wrong decision. It just didn't work out. Because in theory, getting out of this position and jumping to a team over there is still improving my situation. The fact that I die afterwards doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. At this point, I'm kind of just paying for Inkstorm. We have a good push. They don't really have a good opening. So, kind of see. I paint for Inkstorm. Once I get it, I throw it at Rainmaker and start climbing up here. CDS catches me before I get up there, which pretty much, if I'm not already up there, the fight is in the CDS's advantage. And you see them win because of that. Like, I'm forced to take a fight in their advantage, and that's why they win the fight. Not because they out-aim me, because they have the advantage in the fight. But it doesn't matter because there's like multiple specials and multiple people on their Rainmaker. And instead of protecting it, the CDS goes after me. Which, I mean, isn't necessarily the worst thing, because they kind of have to clear out this area, but that is the kind of thing I'm trying to highlight. Like, the reason why we're winning in this case, or the reason why I do well, at least, I can't speak for my teammates because I don't have their footage to see exactly what they're doing. But one of the differences you'll see between us and them is that we're trying to, like, when we make a push, we try to sort of deny areas from them. You can see me storm their bunker earlier, or snipe, or whatever you want to call it. Like, we try to force them out of being able to defend, whereas this team focuses a bit more on trying to get kills to clear the area, I think. But it's not focusing enough on objective, because it leaves their Rainmaker open. So by taking that fight on me, they have the fight advantage in that fight, but they leave their team defenseless. And it's a hard situation to play. I'm not trying to rag on fire. But the idea, basically, like, if they don't get me here, I climb up in bunker and have a really good spot on them to stop their defense, or stop their push. So, actually, in that way, that's actually a good choice on their part. It's just, we're forcing them to have to make a bad choice. It's either go for the kill on me before I get set up, or leave my own to defend the Rainmaker, in which case I get set up and kill the Rainmaker instead of our teammates. I'm kind of tired, so I'm devolving into nonsense a little bit, I think. But I think I've gotten the general point across I want to make with this video. Just general ideas of the things I keep in mind while playing the game. So, see you next time I make a video, I guess.